Yep, here he comes. Riding his trusted steed through the Sierra foothills as he brings you the news. He calls himself
Charlie.
What you doing, Charlie?
Sorry, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. There you are. Look how cute you are. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. What's with the dark glasses?
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ow, Charlie!
Charlie Simons.
Charlie bit me.
Well, my friend, yes, here we go again. I am Charlie Simons. Yes, it is the show about the two things you're never supposed to talk about, religion and politics. I am Charlie Simons. Thank you for being here. You want to share this show? I hope you do. It's about a new movie that's out about Hunter's laptop. Hunter who? Yeah, the media's already ignored it, shut it up, shut it down. But not all of us have forgotten. Hunter's Laptop, Requiem. Oh, this film. You're going to like my guest a lot. Simona Mangiante. I think I said that exactly right, Simona. She's backstage right now waiting. She's in this film. It's an extraordinary thing. Requiem for Ukraine. Hunt Lunter's Laptop, I just said. That's called a spoonerism, where you swap the first letters of each word. Hunter's Laptop, Requiem for Ukraine. Want to see a little bit of it? Check this out.
There's this thing about Joe being a nice man. Forget it. When the bribe comes along, he recommends that his son be employed by the crookedest man. There's this thing about Joe being a nice man. Forget it. When the bribe comes along, he recommends that his son be employed by the crookedest man in Ukraine.
The computer repair shop owner who turned in Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop to the FBI now says he's on the verge of bankruptcy.
If you're against the ruling class of this country, you better believe that they're coming. I mean, I'm going to prison on Monday.
Obama names Biden as the point man. Then he told Shokin, come on, start up the investigation.
This is the completely crazy person.
Poroshenko was a massive crook.
And these are kind of clowns now, but they have massive power.
The fact checker at the Washington Post had to reverse course and say I was wrong for 4 years. And he wrote a fact check citing our documents saying, turns out Joe Biden called an audible. He did change the policy. Joe Biden was told to do the opposite of what he did in Ukraine.
A revolution. Inserting yourself, projecting your power in some foreign country. You're also exposing yourself.
Donald Trump didn't, I guess, know enough.
I used to say there's no deep state. They're in your face. When you're in the White House, they're in your grill.
And the motorcade blew something, I repeat,
I'm not going to let people frighten me from doing it. Otherwise, what good am I?
They wonder why a crackhead is making millions from the Chinese government.
I'm really lucky, Ed. Great kids.
And so few people are trying to find out what really is going on. What did the FBI discover? They discovered that they were my source.
They blame Russia for everything.
Politico ran a story headline, Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo. Dozens of former intel officials say, God, I can't even say that with a straight face.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan.
It's a clear violation of the First Amendment for the government to be coercing private companies to censor Americans.
Wow. Simona Mangiante, what are you doing? Look at you. Look how awesome you are. I'm so glad to see you again. You and I met, man, it's coming up on like a year and a half ago now at a Republican event up here in the Bay Area. You had just married this man named George Papadopoulos, who had his own encounter with the left, completely trying to destroy him and ruin him. And you two had just married. You were newlyweds when I first met you. I picked you up at the airport, and you were just an absolute joy to work with, an honor to get to know you both. And when I found out about this film and that you were actually in it, I'm like, I got to get Simona on. Fantastic. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you so much, Charlie. It's been a while since the last time we met, but George and I have been married for a while now. We are going to our 7th year of marriage. So we had
seventh year. Well, I was way
Yes.
wrong then. I thought
Oh
that you
yeah,
all
no,
had
I'm
just
just
gotten
like
married before. Oh, shoot.
it feels like that, but it's
It
it's
feels like that. Well, that's
longer.
good.
Yeah.
You two have got, you're such a great couple. And you travel, you make things happen. You don't just talk about stuff, you get stuff done. And those are the kind of people I like. And I want to encourage and help in any way possible. So that's why I'm having you on the show, and I want to talk about this film. Let's do it.
Thank you so much. So you show the trailer of this film, which shows already it's not truly and simply about the content of a Hunter laptop, which is an old news, and everybody has had the opportunity to look into this disturbing graphic content. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the evidence of crime that we found in Hunter's laptop, incriminating not only Hunter but his father, Joe Biden, and how the entire Democratic apparatus covered up for this crime, dismissing the laptop as Russia disinformation on the side, and then suppressing the story. So this is a film about media manipulation and how this ultimately affected the weaponization of power when we targeted everyone who was exposing the dirt in Hunter laptop, a dirt that goes beyond the disgusting moral degeneracy we see in the laptop. There is much more.
You mentioned the media. None of this would be possible if it weren't for them. And the biggest lie that they push is the lie of omission. They literally just don't even print about it, talk about it, write about it, or do stories on it. That's how they lie most effectively. They are the mouthpiece for the left. They are doing the devil's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. It is truly that bad. And there are just a few conservative outlets that are actually punching through, but some of them have turned out to be tremendous disappointments. Fox News comes to mind. There's still some good people on there, but when that whole trifecta of getting rid of Tucker Carlson, Dan Bongino, Steve Hilton, these are all people who are totally about the populist movement, which I am as well. This is a party for the people, of the people, we the people. And that's why I am involved in and what I've always been championing. But I have also been in the media my entire adult life, and I know what they do. I know how they coerce. I know how they lie. And I know how they bring down and destroy anyone who dares to stand up against them. Have you encountered any kind of pushback like this? I know your husband, George, sure did.
Well, it's sufficient to Google my name to see how much defamation and attacks, personal attacks I had to endure. Most recently, I've been again attacked with my husband for this crazy allegation that we're going to address legally, simply because we are telling the truth. And the truth is now called misinformation, but of course on the legal in a legal court, you have to define what misinformation is and what would be the motive of that, which absolutely there is an unsubstantiated type of allegation. So this film, Hunter Laptop, is precisely about not only media omitting to cover their certain story, but in this case was actively dismissing the story as Russia propaganda. How many times we heard of Russia propaganda? What does it even mean? Like, let's be realistic. I was called myself, because of an accent, like a Russian person in this country. Now I'm Italian 100%. There is a slight obsession with everything that comes from Russia. I don't have any connection with Russia. I don't care about Russia at all. I care about reporting as an investigative journalist about the truth. And this is nothing to do with Russia. It's about corruption of the Bidens in Ukraine. So let's not divert the focus from our work, and let's look at the evil we're facing right now, because it's a spiritual battle and they use deception to win, but ultimately they always lose.
Yeah. There's got to be a tremendous change this coming November 5th, or we're screwed. And you grew up in Italy, right?
I was born and grew up in Italy, yes.
And how old were you when you left there?
I left. Well, I didn't technically leave Italy. I went first. I studied abroad. So let's say I will I left Italy at 26 years old, but I studied abroad. I worked in Brussels. Then I came here recently to like 8 years ago to marry my husband George, and we walked through the fire together because that's.
Yes,
But
you
my
have.
background was already in law. I mean, I was actually an attorney for the European Union, so I was like, I had my ammunition to fight this battle. I was not unprepared. I knew exactly what a political game means, and I saw through their lies straight away when they tried to build up the Russia hoax.
Simona's husband, George Papadopoulos, if you don't know, I've had him on the show. It was extraordinary. I mean, we covered everything. And he was part of President Trump's cabinet right out of the gate. Young, impressive, great mind, very conservative values. And he was so good that they went after him really first. George Papadopoulos was the first one that the left really targeted to destroy and dismantle and try and make look bad. Anything to try and make President Trump look bad. And the things that they went after George for, they were setting him up. They were trying to trap him and entrap him. And he is, I suggest you go back and look that up on my Rumble page, rumble.com/do-not-talk, George Papadopoulos. So I don't want to cover all that with you now. Suffice it to say, though, you two met. Was it right before that or during or after?
No, it was actually after Trump was already elected that we met. And as soon as I started dating George, because of my career, my background, they immediately targeted me as well with a crazy...
Because you're an attorney.
Well, they call me Russian agent, which is ridiculous. So, of course, everything is Russian, right? If you speak the truth. So this is an old fake news that was just feeding into the Russia hoax hysteria that George and I exposed back on time when he couldn't talk because he had a gag order during this terrible time. Many people probably saw me on Fox News or different outlets speaking out for him. So I became his advocate, and together, until the moment he could talk, he exposed this hoax. And you were right, it was patient zero. And I believe people have to remember the connection between his role into exposing the Russia hoax and how it ultimately saved Donald Trump from this heavy allegation they were putting on his presidency and his campaign to delegitimize his power. So I think it's critical that we realize that they started this lawfare on 2016 already by targeting George in first place and other advisors in the Trump campaign with this made up crimes. The investigators set up Trump advisor for crime. They didn't investigate crimes. I always say they persecute people to build up a narrative. They don't prosecute crimes, because if they prosecuted crimes, then we should see Hunter Biden and Joe Biden behind bars, but we don't, right? So there is obviously a globalist control of the democratic machine, both in America, but also with the cooperation of intelligence agencies abroad that made this happen, and has been a relentless work to expose it, ultimately being fearless against this machine.
You're right. It is a global thing, isn't it? The fact that you met George after he'd gone through all that, spending time in prison and everything else.
No, it was before I went to prison. It was after Trump was elected, but I went through all this ordeal with him.
Yeah. The fact that you stayed with him, and you all have been married now 7 years, you said, right? Is just so it just says everything about your character.
Thank you.
I think that's very cool. Well, I think you're fantastic. Let's talk about this movie. How did you get involved with this?
Well, I got into investigative journalism in 2021. I think it's the natural evolution from being an attorney and being involved in this a specific era of American history where I felt compelled to expose crimes, and I lived in my family, in my own life. So I was offered the role as a lead interviewer for this film, which is in Prime Video in 2021, which is called The Everlasting Present. And then I started this pattern. So today I released the film we are talking about, a Trump Tower in Chicago on September 7th. The producer and director of this film is Igor Lopatonok, who worked with Oliver Stone on different films like Ukraine on Fire. And the associate producer in this film you just presented is Sean Stone, so the son of Oliver Stone. We're all involved into this, in the making of this, I hope, informative film. And as we talk, we're working on another project, but you will soon know about it. Yes, I've been very active, very, very much on the on the topic.
Not just in that. Again, you're an attorney. You also design clothing.
Yeah, I'm also an entrepreneur. Yes, I started my fashion line in the United States in 2019. So this is like my little creature. I'm also in acting as well, as you know.
Yeah,
I participate in a few films. So I always say, when do there is nothing wrong in doing many things as long as you achieve to do at least some of them good.
Yeah, at least some of them are good, right? Where can we see this film? How can we do Hunter's Laptop, Requiem for Ukraine? Especially now, we need to see this and get some people educated before November 5th.
Well, you can watch it on Salem now. So it's streaming on salemnow.com.
Where? Oh, Salem. Salem Media Group?
Yeah. Yes, Salem Media Group. Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's good. So Salem Now, I did not know that this is an association with them. I worked for them for like 7 years.
Oh, great.
So it's salemnow.com?
Yes. Salemnow.com. So you can find the Hunter Laptop Requiem from Ukraine there. And then you also can watch it on laptopfilms.com. So it's like a producer, laptopfilms.com. Lopatonok, something like, sorry, I think it's pinned on my X account. I don't want to give, so definitely on Salem Now. So .com.
Salem Now, yeah, salemnow.com. Good. I'm glad that they're behind this. I like the work that they do. And so that means you've probably been on all their people's shows, right? Like Dennis Prager, I'm sure, and Hugh Hewitt, and all those folks. You've been on their shows too, Charlie Kirk?
Not yet. I've been on many shows, but no, this is just released. I mean, I'm not being.
You mean I beat them to the punch? I had Simona on before they did?
Yes, I did. You did. Great.
Woohoo! Are you doing any kind of theatrical release on this? Would we be able to actually go to a theater and see it?
I'm not sure about it because it's like in the producer control the distribution of this film. So there is no date yet for theatrical release. So it might be, in this case, you will be updated from our.
The problem is the theater chain owners are big, bloated, pathetic corporations who get huge bailouts, government bailouts because of the COVID shut down and so on. And they're all on board on the left for the most part. We saw it with Sound of Freedom, that extraordinary film Sound of Freedom from Angel Studios.
It was amazing.
And I know. And they had the same theatrical release the same weekend as Mission Impossible 5 and the last Indiana Jones movie up against Disney. Up against Disney with Indiana Jones, and beat them with the box office results that weekend. But we saw the theater; it could have been so much grander and bigger because we saw the theater owners lying to people, telling them screenings had been canceled after they'd already bought tickets, telling them, "Oh, we got air conditioning went out, or the popcorn machine's not working right, so we're not showing it." Doing that kind of crap to keep people from seeing a film that was about human trafficking, child trafficking. How would you not want to let people know about that? Well, because it made their people look bad. because of the open border, because of everything that's going on down there with the cartels. So then just recently I was working with Children's Health Defense, which is Robert Kennedy Jr. And they made this film, this documentary called Vaxxed, VAXXED, Vaxxed 3. This is the third one in the series, obviously. And I saw how these theater owners and management were making it as difficult as possible just to show that film in their freaking theaters, where they get the benefits of all of us buying their popcorn or the ridiculously priced everything. But they don't care. I mean, they are driven. And why, again, would you be against a film that's warning people about the dangers of not just COVID, but all kinds of vaccines? Well, it just doesn't fit the narrative. And the big pharma has got all the money and they're buying advertising here. And we just don't want to make them angry. So they shut it down. They make it to where you can't even get the film in. The last thing that these people want is Hunter's laptop, Requiem for Ukraine, to be shown in their theaters. It's really tough, isn't it?
Of course, it's probably the most censored story. The story has been suppressed despite many, important key figure try to expose it unsuccessfully. This film has incredible speakers. I had the chance to sit with Rudy Giuliani, Steve Bannon, just ahead of him reporting to prison. So it's really interesting to hear from them the story of the finding of the laptop, the crimes that they were discovered through the laptop, and how both authorities and media were completely insensitive to it. Not, of course, because they didn't see the crime, but because they voluntarily tried to cover up for it or suppress this critical information to the public, to the American citizen, in a specific time in 2020, where suppressing the story was election interference. How many people would have voted for Joe Biden if they knew about his dealing with Ukraine, Burisma? Then everything is focused mainly on Biden's affairs in Ukraine. So we're digging into Burisma Holding, this oil and energy company where Hunter was in the board administrators, where he was paid. And his father at the time, he was a vice president of the United States. So we're talking about selling influence for personal benefit in a very corrupted company that is money laundering money. So it's pretty, it's much more than the sex scandal people think about or associate the laptop to.
Right. Wow. So where was what you did? Where did you have to go to do that? What was the location?
Well, but many locations. Some of the interviews were held in Florida, other in Washington, D.C., others abroad. So I traveled all over to sit down with the speakers and gather informations.
And that doesn't pay for itself. What kind of money was behind this?
Well, I work for a production in Los Angeles. It's a production company in Los Angeles. So it's a serious Hollywood production company. They have their,
Yeah, well, it's obviously
it's not like a freelance job that I was traveling. I was not working for myself. No.
Right, and unfortunately, a lot of these kind of films, that's what they look like, but not this one. I mean, this is obviously professionally done and very well done. I'm excited to see it. I have not seen the whole thing yet. Salem Now, that's the Salem Media Group, which is mostly radio. They have radio, television. SalemNow.com. See Hunter's laptop, Requiem for Ukraine. That's a tough thing to get people to remember all that, but you can remember Hunter's laptop, right?
Exactly. It's gonna be easy.
It's gonna be easy. Give all my best to George. Y'all ever coming back up to Northern California anytime in the future? I'd love to get together with you all again.
Anytime, would be a pleasure to join you again there to one of your beautiful events. Thank you.
Yeah, you
it was
bet.
a pleasure
We'll
to
do
be
it.
on your
We'll
show.
make it happen.
Thank
Thank
very
you,
much.
Simona Mangianti. Oh, if we want to keep in touch, by the way, do you have a website? Do you anywhere where we can go check out some of your fashion?
You can follow me on X at Simona Mangiante, so name and surname, or Instagram at Simona_Mangiante_.
Okay. All right. Very
That's
good.
the easiest.
That's the easiest. All right, my friend. All the best to you. Thank you so much for
Thank you
taking
so
the time.
much. All the best to you too.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it very much. You want to help out this show, you can do it at venmo.com/do not talk. That's venmo.com/do not talk. Or you can support the businesses that support this show, like Mike Lindell with mypillow.com/Lee. My middle name is Lee. That can get you up to 75% off My Pillow products, all made in the United States of America. Over 100 of them now at his online store, mypillow.com/Lee. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most importantly, America, bless God.